Cenk then gets going after or during the social break. So they end the clip, then there's commercials, and then they okay, social break. So here is a really interesting moment, and I really hope this makes it to Sam's attention at some point, although it's probably drama bullshit he doesn't really care about. But Cenk was completely wrong about what Sam said, and he makes it seem like he's being the adult in the room who never makes things personal, and he's the one who is like above it all. And isn't it just a shame that other people are dragging us all down with their attitudes and dispositions, and it shouldn't be so personal. And then he misunderstands. I mean, you could generously say he probably watched it once and was wrong, but the whole context of this debate and this spat is credibility and accuracy and truth and honesty and correcting yourself if you get something wrong. Nobody expects everybody to be perfect. Oh fuck, I was supposed to correct a thing. Actually, it was about a date. Sorry. That's from the last one. I got a date wrong on one of my credits for one of the sources of the videos. It's actually later in the year, December 3rd. I'm going to make a note. I got to make sure I do that because I said I would. But that's the whole point of this, is that Cenk should at least uphold a degree of accuracy if that's the context of this whole conversation. And at 57 here, and I should have done these in separate clips so it's easier to just jump to it. But here's Cenk reacting, giving his weighing in a little bit here.
The part that bothers me, guys, is when people make it personal. And so there's two tricks that they do. One is, if you disagree with me at all, you're right wing. And if you're right wing, you're immoral. Hence, if you disagree with me at all on anything, you're an immoral person.
See, he does that a lot. He did this on the Francesca interview. He does this all the time on other shows and stuff. It's just sort of like a lazy, smart idiot stuff, like law school brain, like simple flow chart. You do this, therefore I have this, therefore it's like programmer language. Not that programmers are lazy or smart, but it's like a series of switches. If this, then that. If this, and then he thinks that he, by conveying it in simple terms, is somehow making a good point, but it just completely overlaps or overrides the nuances and anything. And this is the straw manning shit that he does constantly. So let's just back up a little bit here.
Hence, if you disagree with me at all on anything, you're an immoral person. You're hurting.
Cenk's an immoral person for being a union buster, for lying to his audience about the union busting and telling his audience that the outsiders started the union to harm his run for Congress. And he's an immoral person for his use of classification to deny someone benefits. Having somebody work 40-hour weeks while they're classified part-time so that you can keep their benefits is deeply fucking immoral.
Vulnerable communities, you're hurting this, you're hurting that. Wait, how am I hurting them?
So that's calling out. Sorry, the vulnerable communities thing is referring to Francesca Fiorentini. There's some stuff on the channel here about that too, where they're doing the interview that she did and he did in late December.
You're an immoral person. You're hurting vulnerable communities. You're hurting this. You're hurting that. Wait, how am I hurting them? The vulnerable communities in Oakland voted overwhelmingly with the position that Anna and I have. Why? Because the position we have represents the great majority of Democratic voters and voters on the left. So how are the vulnerable communities hurting vulnerable communities? Because they dared to disagree with Emma and Sam and others in that circle. That's absurd. It's patently absurd. But they make it seem like I am the only moral one, and then they go further. So in that clip that Anna just mentioned, they called her marble brains.
Marble brains. Wouldn't you hate to be called marble brains? Now listen.
I mean, but at least dawn lights on Marblehead, although it seems to light, sometime around.
I put this on screen. This is my Twitter. Dawn lights on Marblehead. It's a phrase in New England. It's a perfect Sam thing, actually. It's just like a classic, like, I think Sam is an awesome dude. He gets the boomer charge too much, and he gets slightly defensive. I think he understands it's playful. But like, I've never heard this. And why would I? I've been to Boston once. They fucking amazing lobster sandwiches. We went to the same restaurant twice. It was so great. My girlfriend and I got into a kind of a pissy edit because we got lost several times. Okay. Marblehead in Massachusetts, saying Marblehead, Massachusetts is a seaside town north of Boston. So some Marblehead, probably some fucking whaling, that started out as some colonizer landing spot, where they were fucking chopping up whale bones and turning them into trinkets The phrase is used to describe understanding light dawns of something by a person who is being a bit dense or stubborn, a Marblehead. So Marblehead is a stubborn town filled with stubborn people who insist on being whalings. And then, because the kerosene industry and the most expensive part of the whale was like the brain bladder thingy that was like special oil. And they traveled all over. That's when Moby Dick beat their ass in the Pacific because they were killing all the big whales in the Atlantic. So they're chasing. And so Marblehead says, we want more whales. And then someone says, no, you're too stubborn. And then eventually they said, all right, fine, we'll switch to oil. Enough with this kerosene bullshit. The era of kerosene is over. Change the lamps to oil and electricity. And that was the death of the whaling. I'm adding the whaling stuff. So the light dawned. So the stubborn town, its darkness was alleviated by the dawning of light. Now, Sam does actually dig a little bit. Let's be fair. He kind of says, well, it's more of a sunset. He's playing with the verbiage of this idiom.
Around sunset.
Yeah.
And also.
Let's back up slightly just to hear it. Listen to Sam's voice.
I mean, but at least dawn lights on Marblehead, although it seems to light, sometime around sunset.
Yeah.
And also now to say, like, this is not what MAGA wants. Like, give me a...
Okay, so he's saying, at least now she's coming to realize something. That's actually giving her credit. Now, it is coming in a very critical context. The context of this is a criticism, and they are having this public spat, so it is not, but he's kind of giving her credit. Here's another from the Urban Dictionary. Light dawns on Marblehead. I got to figure out how to use this in my regular life. When something obvious is finally recognized by some stupid shit, it might be a good idea to wear a mask. This is the example. It might be a good idea to wear a mask after Donald Trump caught COVID-19. Light dawns on Marblehead. Like, I didn't believe it, but then something taught me, and I'm finally coming to a realization. And he said, well, it's kind of coming on sunset, meaning, well, it seems to be kind of late, like it took a while.
Break. Give me a frickin' break.
It's pronounced
what is that?
Fucking, Sam. It's pronounced fucking. God damn it. When will dawn light on his Marblehead, you marble-brained piece of shit?
Well, I mean, this is what we're doing now. Another leftist said that my brain is broken.
That's Francesca. I recall her making comments about, like, are you even smart or something like that in one of them. And I'm not sure exactly what. I could probably find it if I was motivated enough. I don't know. I have to get back to working on that website. But yeah, he's definitely calling Francesca out there about the broken brain thing. So he's really offended. The guy who says that it's important. He'll say all the time he doesn't really believe in the civility. He likes to punch back. He's all for vengeance. He's got this, like, I'll punch you back and I'll hit you way harder than I.
Okay, I mean, like, we could do that too, and we can say all of your brains are broken and etc.
You can make fun of me for my hair falling out, Cenk. You could make fun of me, my face, for my beard falling out from stress over the last several years. Go ahead, alopecia head over here.
We can keep going down this path, but I hate it. I want to be constructive. I want to actually win. I want to care about the voters and the average American instead of caring about your ego and saying that anybody who disagrees with you has marbles in their brain and they're stupid and evil and immoral and fascist, etc. That is the world's worst strategy. And by the way, not very moral. So
not very moral. Certainly not moral to call someone a broken brain, or not very moral to have them work 40 hours a week while they get no days off, no bonus, no benefits whatsoever. Not very moral to impose a psychological campaign, an intentional campaign of psychological warfare against your own workers in a desperate bid to protect your political ambitions using your media company. Is that moral? Is there ethical violations there? It's not very moral to tell your audience that the people who started a union at your company were tricked into unionizing by outsiders, that they were manipulated. You impugn their own intelligence, the workers' own fucking intelligence, myself included, because I was core to starting this union. Is that very moral? And then cover it up for years. He told the Generational Change podcast that unionizing workers bullied other people at TYT.
So there was this giant miscommunication at that time as to the motivation. And so what I asked for was, hey guys, can you do a vote? And by the way, there was a couple of people that came up to us and said, hey, we didn't want this. they're kind of bullying us, right? And I don't mean IATSE, I mean some other folks that were there at the time. And so I asked for a vote, and we got a vote, and then they won, right? So and it's not a matter of they won. When they won, we didn't lose. We also won. I just needed clarity so that to make sure that my employees actually wanted it.
Fucking slanderous, man. Intentional, malicious slander right there. Smearing the workers again, as if they haven't been dragged through the fucking mud enough by Cenk and Ana.
Look, guys, just fight for your policies, fight for your strategies. And I hope we all stop making it personal. I'm not seeing that lately.
I think Seder's a grifter.
I disagree.
Okay,
that's the Hasanabi podcast with Janksgiving, with his uncle Janksgiving on Janksgiving, the annual event where Cenk reveals the degree to which his brain has been chewed up by the fungus of conservatism that's at the root of his entire being, his reactionary politics, and probably various psychological pathologies that are being informed here. Hey, we all have psychological pathologies, don't we?
Never heard him call you a grifter.
He's called me every fucking name in the book.
Okay.
He's a low rent grifter.
Stop.
Okay, he's a freaking grifter. That's all
This is Cenk and the Francesca. By the way, rents are pretty high, so if he's a high rent grifter, let's be honest here.
he's ever done.
Let's talk about Sam. I have a lot more of this. I actually edited this is exactly 2 minutes and 20 seconds because that's the cap on Twitter free accounts. So as soon as he's done saying all this bullshit,
fight for your policies, fight for your strategies. I'm not seeing that lately.
I think Seder's a grifter.
I disagree.
Okay,
I've never heard him call you a grifter.
He's called me every fucking name in the book.
Okay,
he's a low rent grifter.
Stop.
Okay, he's a freaking grifter. That's all he's ever done.
there's a lot more to that Janksgiving where he's over the. Okay, actually, here's more from that video. This is my Twitters again. I'm just gonna. Here is Francesca and Cenk. Cenk has some words about Sam.
I just don't have to go on his stupid show and agree with his stupid ideas.
Cold Feet Uygur doesn't want to go on Sam's stupid show and stupid ideas. Maybe you need to have some illumination upon the marble brains, Cenk. Come on, stubborn old man. Have some dawn lighting.
Okay, but you just, again, stupid. Again, these are words that you reserve.
Okay,
Why do you?
Randy, if I called you a Nazi, and
First
I
of all,
said
that's
you're
also not true. Sam never called Cenk a Nazi. He'll occasionally phrase it as and analogize me to a Nazi, but he's very rooted on that. I was called a Nazi. They think I called me a Nazi. Because what he's doing there is he's commiserating with right-wingers who don't like being called Nazis, even though their leaders are hailing Hitler, doing Sig Heils at their conferences. It's certainly hard to, argue against the term per se. I agree overall that just simply calling everybody I agree with Cenk's straw man. That's why these straw men are nice and convenient for him, because you can agree that calling every single person you meet a Nazi is bad strategy. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Of course. But acting like what he's doing with that is saying to the right winger, the ears of the right wing is who his real audience is the left is unfair to me the same way that they're unfair to you. You think it's unfair to be called a Nazi, as a lot of the people on the right do. They don't like being lumped in with it, even though when they're in line to vote for Trump, they're also in line with Nazis. But they still feel like it's an unfair charge, right? And so he is telling them, the left is unfair to me the same way they're unfair to you. You can trust me. He's trying to become not necessarily one of them. I mean, we'll see. But he's trying to make peace. It's part of the peace offering, the project he's up to in terms of appeasing to them and hoping to get their audiences, and I think also probably become the beneficiary of their beneficence of their overlords, as we're going to see a little bit later.
A right winger, and you're secretly taking money from Pelosi and Charlie Kirk. Then, hey, and you said, hey, and you got angry with me. Wouldn't that be a rational reaction?
I think there's been a conflation with.
Reaction be, oh, I love Cenk. I love that he called me a Nazi. I can't wait to work with him. No, he's a freaking grifter. That's all he's ever done.
It's pronounced fucking. What's with you two guys not knowing how to say the word? Look how he ended it. I put Tell the Truth Cenk on the wall there. Very interesting, isn't it? That he's just screaming about very negative. He doesn't like making things personal. Let's see how he reacted when he heard my name. Now, obviously you understand pretty clearly why he doesn't like me. I'm being honest. I stood up to him. I organized my workplace because I thought I deserved health care like my coworkers got. I wanted to be able to go see a doctor. I was pissed off. I hated being put under such stress, and I'm making a documentary about everything in order to correct the record, clear my name, defend my own integrity, defend the integrity of my friends, and hopefully educate and entertain people about the union about unions overall, not just about TYT. It's way bigger than TYT. So let's see how much he doesn't like things being personal. Yet the guy, me, doing things, doing all the stuff I just described, and see if this falls under the category of personal.
The part that bothers me, guys, is when people make it personally.
But people like Ben Dixon and Emma Vigeland, and even longtime contributors who were editors, like Hank. I remember Hank, and like the fact that he helped start the TYT union and now has obviously
nothing.
Okay.
There's a long video on the channel here of all the stuff that I did. It's in one of the more recent videos of all the work that I did, all the money that he made off of me. I don't have like receipts internally, but like news reports of the income that they got and like other stuff. The free days off, 20 days of unpaid labor amounting to $3,460 that I would have received had I been classified as a full-time worker. On top of that, on top of the bonus, I didn't get paid. I got bonus for 79 days of that year. But I had been working full-time completely around the calendar year back to October. I worked an entire full year, but only got bonus for like a percentage of that year. And apparently I helped with nothing. Sounds like that money probably could have bought a lot of Nintendos, Cenk. I'm picturing a whole wall of Nintendo Switches. Like as if that's what... but that's, I mean, we're talking thousands of dollars. Thousands, not to count the 12 months of no health insurance that I didn't get. What's that worth? $400 or $500 a month? $500 a month? Company outlay for health insurance or something? It's ridiculous that any employer should have to worry about their employees' health care at all. We unionized to stop this. And he says I helped with nothing. It's a lie. He's just, he hates, what? Now watch, this is hate. This is who Cenk Uygur really is. This is who this guy fucking is, right? About to see. Watch his face, and you'll see the actual character that underlies the phoniness you see when he's on camera doing his show.
Okay, but I knew Hank was such a great guy, and Emma and Ben are such... I'm just saying, I'm telling you.
Look at that hate. Look at that rage. Because accountability is at his door, and he's terrified. Because he's a fucking coward. He won't say my name. Say it, Cenk. Walter White. Say Walter White, motherfucker. And if you want to go watch, that's the video with him with his green eyes on the. I already closed the tab. I don't have the energy to open anymore. So that felt pretty personal. I don't like it when things get personal. Ah, the union guy, the documentary guy. My literal goal in life is to create the conditions where my beard grows back. That's all I want. I would love to not have to fucking worry about it. I have the worst face for it too. With this, it's really not a good look. I know it's vain. I know we're not supposed to care, but let's be honest. I got way other things to worry about. So then, Cenk goes on, and this isn't in order. They don't have the full commentary. Actually, let's start with this one. This is Cenk from the same day, but I think this is what leads up to the one we just watched. So this is him starting his comments because this is the social break. See how it says 319 right there? And the first one started on 206. So I think we're watching what came before the 206. So it's a little out of order. I was beating myself up about the order in which I should have released these. So anyway.
I just wanted to throw in my 2 cents on all this fighting back and forth within the
I didn't want to throw in my $3,460 on TYT's cents. The 3,400, that would be 300. How do you convert it to cents? You just add 2 zeros, 300,000. Okay, sorry.
So guys, there's nothing wrong with disagreeing with policies. That happens all the time. It happens all the time on the TYT network. It happens on the Young Turks, etc. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing on strategies. I mean, we saw in the clip that Anna just did, Sam's strategy is do not talk to anyone who voted for Trump.
Here he is touting his own.
So this is a quick. I write it here at 22. We see part from the earlier. So this is what we watched. I think we saw Anna say this, but this is from the full video. Just I wanted to give context. I should have done these as like separate chunks. I think that going forward, it's a little bit clumsy to place it inside the video. Not that it's bad for a YouTube video, but for a Twitter, it's easier to sort of have the selections out. I learned.
Openness to understanding people who vote differently than he does.
We can't take the power back without talking to Trump voters and making them realize their mistake. Well, wait.
So let's pander to them first.
Pick your battles doesn't have anything to do with talking to Trump voters. Yeah. Or not.
Or flattering false
You've just decided to make some weird connection there. We can't take the power back without talking to Trump voters and making them realize their mistake. Actually, no, we can't. There's millions and millions of other people who need to be motivated to get into the fight.
Is that I am coming from the Poly Market Studios?
Insulting them and lumping them all together as the worst among them doesn't help either. I don't know when we have done that with all 78 million people, but I got news for you. The percentage of those who voted for Mitt Romney, they can suck my. I don't care about any of that. Like I don't care about any of that.
I guess "suck my dick" must be some sort of regional Boston idiom because I've never heard that before. In Illinois, where I'm from, we say "suck my marblehead."
Astute analysis, there you have it. Sam Seder, noted expert on Trump voters who he won't talk to and has no interest in understanding. Got it.
How you would win them back without talking to them is a good open question, but I'm sure he's got a brilliant strategy of Vulcan mind meld. I don't know.
Go talk to him, you fucking coward, cold feet Uygur. Cenk won't go on his stupid show to hear his stupid ideas. All this, I'll talk to him, we'll talk to him. Go on a show and talk to him. He has an open invitation. Sam's not afraid to talk to you.
Yes. By the way, the establishment Democrats have a strategy too, which is do absolutely nothing. I don't think that's a good strategy either.
Agreed.
Our strategy is, why don't we talk to all Americans, including Trump voters, who a lot of them are independents, and yes, there's some even MAGA populists, and maybe we can win them back if we have a conversation with them instead of yelling at them and calling them names. But hey, everybody pick your own strategies, no problem at all. If you say, no, I love yelling at them and I think that's gonna work, and with the 12th time or the 88th.
If I want labor and I don't want to pay for someone's health insurance bonus or paid days off, I'm gonna have them sign a contract that says they're an independent contractor. And then when they ask for help, I'm gonna change their classification to part-time while they work 40-hour weeks. Everybody gets to pick their own strategy. Hey, and you know what? It worked. Except in this guy's case, like in any other business, this is not much of a risk of this happening. But at the Young Turks, I mean, you can get a union made too. But it's a leftist media company that attracts movement leftists who are leftist media company is not really the right term, I know. But like it attracts movement leftists like myself who believe in unionizing and want to be filmmakers who make documentaries. Like some other businesses will attract people who will unionize because that's a great way to stand up for yourself. You need collective bargaining to increase your negotiating leverage. That's true in all companies. But especially at TYT, Cenk earned himself the union and starring role in a documentary, in an amazingly and beautifully edited documentary with a very, very high quality tellthetruthcenk.com website, which I'd love you to go to, and please consider donating to the GoFundMe or any of the other ways. Even though I don't post as regularly as you'd like to see, I am so busy with this fucking thing. I need as much support as I can get. Please contribute.
Time or the 100 billionth time that we yell at them, they're gonna break and vote Democrat. Okay, maybe. Have at it, Hoss. Do that strategy.
And I welcome their hatred.
See, I was getting a little bit more with the editing. It's so much easier to do. I mean, yeah. If Da Vinci would just give us a better keyframing thing, you can do a lot with what they've got. But God damn it, you guys, just revamp the keyframing and edit for God's sakes. I know there's some keyframing in Fusion. Oh, but there's so much. I love it so much more than Premiere. So that's Cenk slinging some bullshit. What does he say at the end here?
Yelling at them, and I think that's gonna work. And with the 12th time or the 88th time or the 100 billionth time that we yell at them, they're gonna break and vote Democrat. Okay, maybe.
Okay, maybe. See, it's 210, and so that connects up to this one here, 206. That starts there.